nothing exists as appears. The reality is something different than appearances. So, such sort of, as a physicist, they begin to realize once things, some good thing or sort of negative thing, you do not sort of convince its existence as appears from absolute, from objective. That no longer there, then grasping. Good, too much good, grasping. Extreme good, extreme bad. So that things does not exist as appears. Ultimately, very much depend on observer. Now this is quantum physics now. The Nagarjuna psychology also exactly same that. Exactly, so to say, same view. One of my Indian friend, perhaps some of you may know Raja Ramana, late Raja Ramana. Once he mentioned to me, quantum physics in the West, something new. In this country, 2000 years ago, already developed quantum physics. He told me. It is true. At that time, you see, he also recite few sentences of Nagarjuna, Madhyamika Mulakarika. So this is a make distinction. The emotion very much based on grasping something absolute, because absolute exists. So in that, when you realize things does not exist as appears, when we investigate, nothing there as appears. So big gap, appearances and reality. So most of the destructive emotion based on appearances. So there is no proper foundation. The positive emotion, such as compassion, karuna, the sufficient reason. So that's, I think, once we think more and know that, then we develop some kind of confidence. Oh, my destructive emotion, negative emotion can reduce because there is no proper basis. The positive emotion with sufficient reason, so that increase, such as compassion increase, anger automatically reduce. So now this is not just religious sort of thing, but I think subject for academic, for how to build healthy mind, peaceful mind. Okay. We are not talking or nirvana or next life or heaven. We simply, talking how to train our mind, peaceful mind, day-to-day life.
Your Holiness, we are all truly honored to be in your presence. Thank you so much for addressing us. I'm Nazuk Kumar. I'm posted as SDM in Chandigarh. Sir, as you rightly said, there is a need for a spiritual base in our modern education. But my question is that in government schools, the children that we interact with, a lot of them come from very economically weaker backgrounds. So how do I ground spirituality for a child who does not know whether he'll be getting food in the next meal, or who has to go back to a small slum settlement where he's not able to sleep properly or maybe not go to the toilet properly? So how do I tell him about spiritual education?
Karsa. Now on this planet, there's huge gap, rich and poor. And within different country, big differences, poor and rich and poor. And this country, I think the 1,000-year-old concept of caste system, I think that outdated. Even Buddha's time, Buddha totally against they make distinction on the basis of caste. So now, in modern India, you see, caste system as a tradition still sort of keep. I think that through education, we can change that. And in this case, the religious leaders, spiritual leaders, I think, should come out to say caste system is outdated, and caste system is very much related with feudal system. Feudal system gone. I think in feudal system, kings or those rulers, you see, in order to they justify their rule on poor people, they create caste system. I think that's outdated. So therefore, now through education, I think these should change. And then I think government level, concerned people, should pay more attention about the poor people. In this respect, as far as socio-economy theory is concerned, I am Marxist. Karl Marx, you see, when industrialization in the West, too much exploitation, working class people. So Karl Marx stand right for working class people. And then he also, you see, expressed equal distribution. So in this respect, I am Marxist. I think wonderful Marxist theory, I think spoiled by Lenin. At the time of Lenin Bolshevik revolution, the civil war and some other sort of causes. So his thinking is more militant, so totalitarian power and ruthless suppression. So he spoiled Karl Marx's wonderful theory. Okay.
Good morning, Our Highness. We all very proud and feel glad to see you in front of us. And my question is, how has the roles for you set out of changes when you first came to be the Dalai Lama?
What question?
How has the role set out for you changed since you first came to be the Dalai Lama?
Sorry. Including myself, thousands Tibetan Buddhist students, mainly in monastic institution. You see, from childhood, they learn. We learn their logical approach. We extensively use logic. And then psychology, all these, sometimes I sort of express the Western psychology, compare ancient Indian psychology, then Western psychology looks like kindergarten level. Indian psychology, highly developed. So, subject in our study, psychology also there. And then philosophy. When I met some quantum physicists, of course I respect them, I admire them. But in deep, one side of my mind, as far as quantum physics is concerned, I know better. So these are sort of subject or study in Tibet, according to Nalanda tradition, in order to become a fairly good scholar, at least a 20, 30 years study. And all these texts are wrote by Nalanda masters. So I think since 8th century, the Tibetan emperor, Tibetan king, invited, at that time, the topmost sort of scholar, Chandigarh, great logician, great philosopher. So his writing we still study. So since he introduced the Nalanda tradition, so we extensively use our logical approach. So therefore, myself, since childhood, study these things. There is no, special arrangement for Dalai Lama's sort of study. No, ordinary. When I study these things, I had not much interest, so very much reluctant. So my tutor kept on whip. The color of the whip is yellow. Suppose the person supposed to the person to use that whip, suppose holy. So the whip also should be holy. So yellow whip. So I, young person, already know if we holy whip use, no differences of holy pain. So out of fear, you see, like myself, you see, pay more attention. Then thousands students that way. So I think as far as Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist logic is concerned, I think we Tibetan, since 8th century, we really pay much attention for study till our generation. Now here, even we become refugee. Some of our bigger settlement, the big monastic institution re-established. Now at least in South India, around 10,000 monk students and also nun, few thousand nun, they also study same way, so become scholar. So now I think at the moment, I think the only Nalanda tradition available among Tibetan refugee community. So when the few Tibetan girls used to perform something, I very much moved. We Tibetan. Before Buddhism came, we are just a warrior, like that. So sometimes I teasing is Indian. if Tibetan ancient sort of, or say the habit, warrior, or sword, spear, whenever we face some sort of some opposition, we just crash. So since Buddhism came to Tibet, we become peaceful, non-violent. So Chinese take advantage. So in any way, so I really feel, I openly used to telling my Indian friend, and 1,000 years ago, you Indian, our teacher, our guru, we are chela. Chela, huh? We are not only just chela, reliable chela. The guru's own land, too much ups and downs. We chela kept all this knowledge over 1,000 years. So now, unfortunate or fortunate, chela become guru. Guru become chela. Thank you. Yes.
Good morning, Your Holiness. I'm Catherine. I come from Canada. I absolutely love your message that you opened with about everyone being one big human family, brothers and sisters. I also think that this is a very basic tenet of so many faiths, and yet in our world we see the rises of protectionism, nationalism, division along the lines of faith. And I just wondered what your thoughts are on how to maintain our beautiful diversity and yet create a unity within that diversity to get back to our true human family.
Karsa.
She was unity in diversity.
Through education, I think I always be telling people, expressing, we need oneness of sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. That's important. As I mentioned earlier, according to scientists, because we are social animal, basic human nature is more compassionate. Social animal, emotionally, is something to bring together. That's love, loving kindness. Anger, competition, expel. So, since we are social animal, then in ancient time, the sense of sort of community, very small scale somewhere. Now gradually nation. And now, for example, India, the South Indian, West Indian, North Indian, East Indian, Central Indian, different language, different script, but all remain together. Indian Union. So that also you see some kind of the spirit of oneness of entire Indian. Now this should promote through education entire 7 billion human beings are same human same sort of member of human family, human community. Now today, the community, in the sense, East depend on Europe, or West depend on East, their future. So similarly, South and North. So actually, entire world like one community. So therefore, now we need sense of community. Entire 7 billion human beings are one community. So on that basis, we can teach people oneness of 7 billion human beings. And then national demarcation is secondary level. Religious differences, secondary level. Basically, we are same human being. We have to live together on this planet. This is some scholar, some scientists say moons and Mars like that, but there is no way, no possibility go there and settle and happily. No. You see, no matter how many sort of complicated, this is the only our home. We must sort of live together. And also, you see, we have to take serious, pay attention about the environment. Now, global warming, very serious. So according to my own experience, in 1960, I came to Dharamsala. Over nearly now 60 years, the first 1960 winter, lot of snow. Then each year, less. So we experienced the global warming. In Tibet also now, you see, lot of snow each year, each decade reduce. So now, global warming is something very serious. I really appreciate the Swedish girl, Marbe, Swedish girl. Oh, she really sort of also they make effort to make awareness about the environment. Wonderful. Like that. So I think more and more people, you see, now coming, realize the importance or seriousness about global warming. Recently, our meeting, some environmentalist sort of specialist, including one Chinese from Taiwan. So he expressed within next 7, 8 decades, or global warming may become very serious. When he explained that, as far as myself, no worry. I already over 80 years. So next, because of the 60, 70s, I have no worry. But those people who have children and grandchildren, you have to pay more attention about their future. So, so the global warming, that is a very, very serious matter. Very serious matter. Yes.
Good morning, Guruji. I am Rakshita and I am from Dharamshala. And having you in front of me is like a dream come true. We are blessed and honored to have you around. My question is, how can we stay faithful and optimistic since there is so much hate in the world?
Karsa, hated you. Oh. As I already mentioned, basic human nature, now according to scientists, not religious sort of belief, according to scientists, as I already mentioned, basic human nature is more compassionate. We are a social animal. So, there is a real sort of hope, basis of hope. You see, through training, through education, you see, we can develop warm-heartedness. So basically, if we make effort tirelessly, with conviction, then I'm optimistic. Okay. In this respect, I think India, should lead. I think at least show the world how to develop mental peace through mental training. That's India's sort of responsibility. Then more and more people follow. I often, feel and also, express next our neighbor, Afghanistan. So Indian Muslim should take more sort of effort to bring peace there. And Arab world, Shia and Sunni. In this country, religious harmony is marvelous. So, among Muslims, I never heard problem Shia and Sunni in this country. But our neighbor, Shia and Sunni, is killing each other. So the Indian Muslim should be more active. So we can make certain contribution of religious harmony. When I heard, Afghanistan, these problems, whenever I fly or return from Europe to India over Afghanistan, then desert land. There are many signs of previously lake, now drying, or some small lake. So when I saw these things, then the Afghanistan people should plant more trees rather than killing each other. So, in that respect, I think the Indian Muslim, as a Muslim brothers, sisters, should do something, to reduce the fighting between Shia and Sunni in this Muslim world. In this country, I think wonderful religious harmony, really wonderful. I think all major religious traditions live together here. Occasionally, a small problem that perhaps mainly due to politicians. So basically, India still have the spirit of religious harmony. On this, now not enough to keep ourselves. No, show world the religious harmony is possible. Is important. Okay.
Namaste, Your Holiness.
Kachosa.
Namaste, Your Holiness.
Thank you.
We're truly blessed to have you here with us, and I'm blessed to be amongst such welcoming people as we have here today. I'd like to suggest that there is optimism as well, and a lot of this rests in the young people that we have. My name isn't important. What I suppose may be salient is I come from the great Southland, Australia, and I've had 47 years of teaching. And I say with my teaching, I have always worked with ethics in education. I am in a business school, and some may view that as a pit of vipers. However, we have opportunity to present the right way, the moral way, the way that is fair and that shares. And businesses are beginning to see this, and many of them are working towards new corporate forms, such as cooperatives, where people put things together and they purchase things and they carry out the exchange of goods and services in a cooperative way. This goes back to the 1860s, 70s in the United Kingdom, to my awareness, but I am sure that it has occurred in the past. So if I might throw out a wisp of hope and say that it is already progressing with people who are in education, who are attempting to work with morals, attempting to work with ethics, and I think the optimism from the young people that we have here. It's not so much a question, Your Holiness, it's just please give us your blessing for optimism.
Thank you. Now, when I look 20th century and the early part of 20th century, First World War, Second World War. After Second World War, I think people, European people, getting more mature. So under the leadership of German Adenauer and French de Gaulle, European Union developed. I think early part of 20th century, such sort of union impossible. Now, through difficult experience, people becoming more mature. So I really admire the spirit of European Union. So I often use expressing that kind of spirit, European Union now should develop in Northern Africa and Latin America and eventually whole Africa. Otherwise, you see, small nation and spend a lot of money for weapon and killing. The Union, I think because of European Union, at least the last few decades, no longer any killing among member states. Wonderful. Now that gradually, you see, we can develop whole world one union without any weapon. I think it is much better. There's a weapon or disagreement with sort of gun. No, not that. Disagreement on brain. Debate. It's good. You see, so eventually this world, one of my dream is now eventually this century should be in order to create century of peace, number one, demilitarized world. That's, I think, then we can save a lot of money. That money spent those poorer section of people and education, I feel. I think these are possible. Comparatively, human being becoming more mature. I really admire the New Zealander, you see, the Maori people. So they equally sort of, complete equal with white people there, isn't it? In Australia, some of the Aborigines or some difficulties. So, you know, Maori people, they have that sort of tradition when meet people, touch nose. So, when I touch people who have big nose, then no problem. But you see, some people like your nose. Then you see, supposed to touch nose, but it may touch here.
Good morning, Your Holiness. I am Shaolin Sehgal from MBA branch. Your Holiness, you are a Nobel laureate for peace. The world recognized you as an apostle of peace. But the same world itself not seems to be at peace. Why?
Kasa. I feel the education system not adequate to bring inner peace. So world peace through inner peace. Fear, too much self-centered attitude, and too much sort of concern our benefit, and in order to that, destroy their sort of because of the well-being or something like that. So I think through education, eventually, I think can change. I feel basically, as I already mentioned, basic human nature is positive, and then now education, more sort of emphasis about this inner value, then we must teach the differences of religion, differences of nationality. These are secondary. We are same human being. We have to live together on this planet. Then I think things can change. Thank you.
Yes, I am Sukra Adhikari from birthplace of Buddha, Nepal, Tribhuvan University. I highly honor to these kinds of friends, to you first of all, and I salute to this holy place, Punjab, Chandigarh, which is the original land of world's literature Veda, which provide the cosmic knowledge of the human civilization since thousands of years ago in the world. Yes, I salute this land, yes. And one of my query, His Holiness Dalai Lama, world is suffering by religious conflict. Why we cannot link the Buddhist philosophy for noble truth to reduce the global conflict in contemporary society, to establish the social harmony in the world? Yes, thank you very much.
Katsa. So my effort, without touching religion is private business. On the basis of a sense of oneness of humanity, we can develop the secular ethics, not touching religion. Religion, private business. Certainly, we can take some sort of lessons from, I think, religious text, particularly Buddhist text. A lot of explanation about psychology and the philosophy, different philosophy. I think Buddhist philosophy is quite rich, because of Nalanda Institution is something learning center. So many scholars come from that, is intellectually, because of really scholar. So meantime, also they study Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist logic, these things. But so there are a lot of resources. But we should take these academic subject, not religious subject. And then India's tradition, secular, without touching religion. Religion, private business. The moral principle, these things are relevant with humanity. So I think we can, again, as I mentioned earlier, through education, you see, take some of these things as an academic subject, how to build peace of mind, and through that way, peaceful society, ultimately peaceful world. Not through religion. Religion, then, firstly, Buddhists do not believe God, no creator. So, the Bishop Tutu, my great spiritual brother, wonderful, really wonderful. we always teasing each other whenever we meet. You see, he described me as a mischievous Dalai Lama. So I call him mischievous bishop. So a lot of sorority, talk or conversation. One occasion, I think in Canada, public talk, he very much praised me. Then at the end, he mentioned, unfortunately, this person is not Christian. So then, I think a few years ago, he came to Dharamsala, in spite of his sort of old age. And then about 3 days, we discuss about this. I think one book also now already published. So during that discussion, so he teasing me, he as a Christian, believe God, so he ready go to heaven. Then Dalai Lama may go different place. That means hell. We as a Buddhist don't believe God. So he mentioned that. Like that. So strictly speaking, Buddhist, not Sorosity, religion, strictly speaking, creator, then Buddhism, Buddhist and Jainism, no God. And also one part of Sangha philosophy, over 3,000 years, ancient, earliest Indian tradition, Sangha. There are two. One Sangha group believe God, creator. One Sangha, no creator. Then Jainism also followed that. And then Buddhism also followed that.
Center for happiness. That is why we
So
are
we have the last two questions
Right,
now.
that's right. So in philosophical field, there is big differences in these different traditions, particularly in Buddhism. But that's just a method. The real aim is try to develop karuna. Karuna. Yes. The all Indian major religious tradition, including Buddhism or Jainism, you see, in spite of different philosophical views, we all practice ahimsa and karuna. So all religion, main purpose is karuna. So very good, no problem. I never state Buddhism is best. So like medicine, we can't say pick up one medicine, this is best medicine, you can't say. Judging the individual patient. So some patient, this medicine is best. To some patient, this medicine is best. Similarly, to some people, the godly religion, believe God, is best, most effective. To some people, like Buddhism anyway, godless religion, and Jainism also. So some people, their religion is, you see, more suitable. But these are just a method. All carry message of love, message of karuna, compassion. So wonderful. So all major religious tradition, same purpose, but different philosophy.
Your Holiness, I have a really short question. How do you maintain the patience when you don't see the change in the world that you so much desire?
Vision condition what's that? Correct. How? Here now, I think patience, the basic aim is realistic, possible to achieve. That does not mean no obstacle, but obstacle there. But the basic aim is something very necessary. Then we have to keep our determination, no matter how difficult it is, then can eventually, I think here, the Buddhist terminology, term we can say, true truth, ultimate truth, conventional truth. So something like that, the sort of happy world is something absolute truth. Everybody wants that. 7 billion human beings want happy life. I usually say, very purpose of our life is joyfulness, happiness. Because you see, our life depends on hope, no guarantee. So hope means something good. So once people lost hope, and then that very mental attitude shorten our life, and worst case, suicide. So therefore, we can say, very purpose of our life is happiness, joyfulness. So therefore, that's our principle. Happy world. 7 billion human beings wants happiness. So we all have the right to achieve happy world. Then mistake is our intelligence, this brain, marvelous brain, not properly used. Too much emotion. So that through education we can change. I feel that.
Hi, Your Holiness. It is such a privilege to be here in this audience today. My name is Shara Ali, and I am from Toronto, Canada, where I lecture at the University of Toronto. I'm a nursing executive in Toronto, and I'm one of 4 fellows from Western University of Health Sciences in Pomona, California. And I've spent my last decade of my career in the mental health sector. And with youth and young adults, I have to credit them for the voice that they use to advocate for change for large items such as global climate change and diversity and inclusion. But in the Western world, if we can separate the two, they are simultaneously challenged by the integration of technology and reality TV stars. And as a result, we are seeing higher incidences of these younger folks experiencing depression, poor coping skills, anxiety, trauma. And as a healthcare provider, my question to you is, and beyond a healthcare provider, as a parent, as a sister, as a family member, a friend, how do we, in the Western culture, really face the challenges associated with reality stars such as the Kardashians having more impact than education? And this is a constant reality that we're seeing, and I'm wondering, how do we cure this potential epidemic of loneliness, trauma, depression, and so on?
Karsa. Huh? It is true, as I already mentioned, through certain way of education, you see, creates materialistic culture, materialistic life. In materialistic life, you see, mainly, you see, relying our joyfulness on sensorial experiences. So, drama, play, or these become something very important. Then music, then taste, and also sexual. Because we only knows the sensorial level consciousness. Never pay much attention about sixth mind. So real happiness, joyfulness must develop on sixth mind, not five sensorial level. So in order to to pay more attention, you should need more knowledge about the whole system of mind and emotion. These, as I mentioned earlier, ancient Indian tradition about psychology, about mind, very useful, very useful. The anger, hatred, and kindness or loving kindness, these things combined with sixth mind, not sensorial. So unless you touch sixth mind, the sensorial level, the sort of happy experience won't much effect on our negative emotion. Okay?
Thank you so much, Your Holiness, for your message of universal brotherhood and love that would help each one of us today to leave this room a little enlightened and strive to be a better human, replete with compassion. It's indeed a moment of honor for all of us here to honor His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama on the 14th of October, what a date, with an honorary doctorate. So could we have the citation, please? Honorary doctorate for unparalleled and invaluable contribution to humanity and world peace and education, and in recognition of his outstanding achievements in promoting peace globally and for inspirational spiritual guidance and leadership. I'm sure it's an overwhelming moment for all of us here. May I now request Your Holiness to kindly declare the 11th Global Week of Chitkara University open.
I see. I hereby declare the 11th Global Week of Chitkara University open.
Thank you, Your Holiness. I'm sure we all agree that the Global Week is blessed today. Thank you so much. I would now request our worthy Vice Chancellor, Dr. Madhu Chitkara, to please express her gratitude to His Holiness. Over to you.
Good afternoon. I think I don't have words to say anything now after this, but it is my responsibility. So, most respected His Holiness Dalai Lama Ji, Miss Mia Yen, Consulate General of Canada in Chandigarh, Mr. Rahul Kumar, DC of Patiala, Mr. Anil Kumar, IS, Ms. Nazuk Kumar, our international guests, government officials from State of Punjab and UT Chandigarh, Dr. Ashok Chitkara, Chancellor Chitkara University, members of press, all my faculty members, and my dear students. As well said by His Holiness also, Mahatma Gandhi said, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Ethics, happiness, and peace are so intricately related, and today's address of His Holiness truly resounded the same. As well said by him, whatever I was able to gather, that we all talk about emotional intelligence, we talk about intelligence, emotional intelligence. So it is a need of the hour to go for emotional intelligence. Moral education should revive again. In our times, there was a period of it. So now I think there is a great message given by His Holiness that we should revive those values. And Mahatma Gandhi ji's non-violence, which is very important, which was, I think, the gist of his speech, and the secular ethics, more happy humanity. That is why what we are doing today is that we are opening up our Center for Happiness. And the enemy, the best line which I like the most is, the enemy is the best teacher. And I think I must appreciate that whatever we learn less from the friends, but more from the enemies. And the best and not the, I think, last but not the least, which I gathered is that problems gives opportunities. So that is, I think that was the best thing which I have gathered. So I strongly believe that all dots in the word are connected and each one is affected and influenced by the other. Well said by His Holiness. Peace and happiness are the two most important ingredients of a delightful life. His Holiness pointed out that ethical living and purity at heart are the two binding factors of peace and happiness. So I am truly indebted to you, Sir, His Holiness, for making it possible to come here and bless our university with your holy footsteps. We are most humbled with your blessings, kind words, and peace message. My heartfelt thanks for Miss Mia Yen, Consul General of Canada in Chandigarh, for sparing her valuable time on a very short notice and oblige us with her presence. We thankfully acknowledge the presence of Mr. Anil Kumar, IS, Mr. Rahul Kumar, DC, Ms. Nazuk Kumar, SDM, and their family for their graceful presence. Our international guests, who are true ambassadors of knowledge and are our partners in making our university a global village. I am thankful for your presence and acknowledge that you fly in from far-off places to teach our students. My most heartfelt thanks is for Mr. Tempa Tesring, who generously recommended His Holiness Dalai Lama Ji to visit our university. I am very thankful to him. It would not have been possible without you, sir. And now I take privilege to announce today the opening of Chitkara University Center for Happiness. This center will work towards increasing quality of students' experience at Chitkara University by cultivating an environment that enables students to take charge of their learning and become lifelong learners and successful leaders. His Holiness has kindly consented to inaugurate the same after this function. His Holiness Dalai Lama Ji, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, and we are committed to do our bit to contribute so that this world becomes a better place to live happily and peacefully. And we all know this is just a beginning. Thank you. And I think we all should stand up to say thanks to His Holiness.
Please come.
I would request the delegates for the Global Week to please follow the escorts and assemble at the pre-designated area for photos. Thank you.
Dean and directors are also requested to please move out for the photograph. And students to be seated here only for next 10 minutes. Please, for next 10 minutes. Students to be seated here only.
So where do we go from here?
So we go tree plantation.
Where exactly is that? So I'll take me.
Just right outside you will see the plaque.
The consulate है sir, she is on the main table. She is only sir. हम लोग sir, we'll just escort her. हाँ, that's okay.